morning majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95, and we are going to be having a wonderful conversation about protection and prevention and your safety, especially when it comes to electrical fires, because we're very kindly joined in the studios by Lieutenant Engineer Hamad Al Hammadi from the Sharjah Civil Defence. A very good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Yes, good morning to you too, and thank you for having me in this kind morning, and hopefully it will be of use to the audience.
Yeah, the listeners will really benefit from this conversation because we're going to be learning a lot about the world of electrical fires. So, and the interesting thing about the conversation with Lieutenant Engineer Hamad Al Hammadi is that he was a firefighter before as well, and now as an engineer, we're going to be learning a little bit more about electrical fires. Engineer Hamad, if you can talk to us a little bit about the nature of electrical fires and what causes them.
Okay, so first of all, we need to understand the concept of electrical fires. So in the beginning, the electricity in general. So if there is any kind of electric flowing through a wire or through a device, it has to produce some kind of heat. So this heat is it's directly proportional to the current of this like electricity that goes through this wire. So if there is any kind of fault or loose wiring or any kind of issue with this appliance or this system, there will be kind of unregulated heat, which will cause things to rise up in temperature, and then it might either spark or melt, depending on the appliance itself and the source of the fault. So once this happens, if there is any kind of combustible item nearby, for example, a table or a chair or even a carpet, it might like fall on it or cause it to catch on fire, which will lead to a huge accident or a huge fire.
So, in terms of those general precautions that people are taking, in terms of hazards, understanding of hazards, I like that you mentioned that you have to be careful about carpets around because they can catch fires very quickly as well if there is a fire. So what are the common hazards that people should be aware of, especially when it comes to grounding or whether it is using the right plugs, etc.?
Yeah, so now, first of all, we need to identify the risks and analyze the hazards around us. So when we're talking about electrical safety or electrical fires in general, first of all, let's go through the source of this electricity, which is the power plug. So usually when there is any kind of electrical fire, it's the main source is from the power plug itself. So when we're connecting any kind of appliance to this power plug, we need to first understand the safety mechanism of this plug. So first of all, you mentioned for the grounding. The grounding is basically an extra cable that runs through this plug, and it goes directly to earth. It usually comes with yellow and green stripes, and this cable basically its main job is to direct any kind of electrical spikes or any excess electricity directly to earth to dissipate the extra electricity and to not cause any kind of hazards or fires or even malfunctioning of the device itself. Which is why sometimes if there is any kind of huge appliance that requires a lot of wattage, usually it comes embedded with some kind of system that tests if this plug has an earthing to it or not. For example, if it doesn't have any kind of earthing, it will give you some kind of fault and it will not work at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one extra safety mechanism in these plugs. Another thing is, for example, if you have an old plug, it might have some kind of loose wiring. You can actually notice, like whenever you turn that plug on, you will hear some kind of buzzing sound for like a spark or something that is happening inside the plug where you can't see it, but you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually another indication of this plug being somewhat faulty, or there is an issue in this plug. So you have to inspect it or hire an electrician to take a look at it and see if there is any kind of issue for this plug.
Now, this is a very important point because a lot of people like to be electricians themselves. They might have learned something on YouTube or whatever. So, importance of hiring a proper electrician, especially when it comes to installing some really heavy devices such as an electric vehicle charger as well, or any sort of a qualified engineers to make sure that everything is in order, because you can always find someone who's going to be people like to take shortcuts, maybe something some kind of a cheap fix to sort things, especially when it comes to wiring.
So there is this concept which is it's called the cutting corners.
Yes.
Whenever there is any kind of construction happening, they always want to go with the cheapest option.
True.
And this is entirely wrong. I mean, this is what I'm saying to others, which is to invest in your safety. So that's why you should always, whenever you're dealing with electricity, you have to always go with like higher quality materials and certified, for example, appliances in general, to just lower the chances of it catching fire, or it leads to any kind of fault or accident. That's why it's always important to handle these kind of electrical plugs and appliances very carefully. And whenever there is some kind of issue, I know usually people try to take initiative and try to solve this issue by themselves, which usually is, I wouldn't say it's fine, but we have to always be careful about this thing. Like whenever we're dealing with electricity, you always have to be careful. You always have to take precautions. And for example, if you need to take care of any kind of electrical appliance, you have to switch it off and make sure all the electricity is completely off before you handle any kind of adjustment or maintenance for any kind of electrical appliance.
That does make sense. Well, we'll continue this conversation about prevention and safety up in our next segment as we take a little bit of a breather right now, and we shall be right back. And this time, we will learn about batteries and what's the general understanding of how they can be flammable as well. Stay with us. You're listening to the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Yeah, join the conversation on the Morning Majlis. Now we're understanding why batteries catch fire and how flammable they can be, and understanding the different types of batteries, because we're very kindly joined by Lieutenant Engineer Hamad Al Hammadi from the Sharjah Civil Defence, who's here with us in the studios. So, Engineer Hamad, understanding the different types of batteries and their characteristics and how they can be flammable or catch fire.
Okay, so first of all, there are many types of batteries, and I will just try to cover on the lithium-ion batteries, since this is the most common type of batteries that are used in our daily life. There are other types of batteries as well, which is, for example, the alkaline type that usually comes in the AA and AAA batteries. There are also the lead-acid batteries, which is the liquid type batteries. They are used in the engine-driven cars. But when we talk about the fire hazards, we usually talk about the lithium-ion batteries, since those are the type of batteries that, when exposed to air, they can easily catch on fire. It will keep on burning until it gets completely depleted by itself. That's why it's always danger to mishandle these kind of batteries, which are the lithium-ion. That's why we always emphasize about the idea that we need to get the certified and the known brands. And when we're trying to buy any kind of power banks, for example, we don't cheap out. We just go with the most cheapest one. We always have to look for the good brands, the known brands. That's why, so for example, when we're talking about the type of power banks, so we have many types, and there are the cheaper ones, there are the more expensive ones. So what's the difference between the cheap and the expensive one? It's basically, let's cover it into two aspects. The first one is the protective casing of the power bank itself. So when we have a more solid casing of this power bank, it will be much less likely to be punctured easily by any kind of external damage or external factor, which will make it more safe and less likely to be exposed to air. We have the other type, the other aspect, which is the circuit board or the power regulator of this power bank. So all power banks, they have to come with some sort of circuit board which regulates the power of this power bank, like how much it takes and how much it gives out. So when we're going with the cheap models, the reliability of these circuit boards, they're much less reliable.
True.
Which is why it might overheat, it might cause some kind of fault. That's why we're emphasizing about the idea of not cheaping out on power banks to avoid any kind of unnecessary accident or unnecessary fire.
I'm guessing the more expensive ones will also have a better protective case for those lithium-ion batteries as well. Now, a lot of people, they go traveling, and when they go to the check-in counters, they're asked and they're told that make sure that the power banks are with you and not in your checked-in luggage. So let's understand why they ask this question and what does it mean when it comes to, is it better to have it on you as opposed to in the check-in luggage?
So the main concept or the main idea why they're asking you to bring the power bank along with you in the airplane is so that it be attended. Because, for example, if we put it in our luggage and it went to the luggage cabin, it will be unattended and it will be compiled with all the other items or the other clothes that can be easily combusted. So if, for example, we have the cheap power banks, they can overload anytime. They can increase in heat for no reason. So when this thing happen and it's in the luggage, it will be very difficult to identify or very difficult to know that there is something wrong until it's too late.
True.
That's why, for example, if you're carrying it with you, if something happened, you can easily deal with it. Or let the crew cabin,
the flight
attendants, they can handle these kind of accidents. Yes.
True. So I think that comes to the question, isn't it? That's the main idea, that you, regardless of whatever the pricing is of the power bank, because they're flammable, it's very important that they are attended and in your care directly. Well, we'll learn more about handling situations like these, handling fire and also preventing fire in the next segment. We'll take a little bit of a breather, and up next we shall continue the conversations and focus a little bit more on either handling a fire extinguisher and also understanding how to deal with a particular incident as well. You're listening to the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Hello and welcome back onto the Morning Majlis as we continue the understanding of fire protection, or protection of yourself from fires. And we're very kindly joined by Lieutenant Engineer Hamad Al Hammadi from the Sharjah Civil Defence. Now, the usual practice is, which everyone knows, once there's a fire, you dial 997 to get the emergency hotline, and you can get the emergency services on board. But protecting yourself from an electrical fire before the civil defense gets there, what are the general steps and precautions that you would recommend?
All right. So always, it's better to first of all, before the accident happened, we always have to protect ourselves or prevent these kind of accidents from happening to begin with. So that's why we should always look for warning signs. If there are any kind of excessive heat coming from any kind of appliance, if there is a smell of smoke, for example, if you can hear sparks or buzzing sound from any kind of appliance, those are usually they are the warning signs. They are what means that there is something wrong. So that's why before we talk about fighting fire or protecting yourself from the fire, we need to first talk about the how to prevent these fire from happening in the first place. So that's why we need to always look out for these warning signs and try to avoid the fire from happening to begin with. In case if, let's say, for example, an accident happened, some kind of fault happened in this appliance, no one noticed, and a fire occurred. So first of all, we always ask for detection methods for the fire alarms, and those are the the early detection of fire. It is very important because fire, we all know that fire grows. So if we whenever the fire happen, if we can deal with it, it will go out immediately. It will be very easy to extinguish. But in case if it started growing, no one noticed, or for example, a mishandling of the fire happened. For example, if there is an electrical fire, you should not spray water on it. It will cause it to spark and might even spread because of this spark. So that's why we always emphasize about the idea of installing detection systems, so that we notice the fire early on, and then we can deal with it immediately. So regarding the dealing of electrical fires in general, there are two types of fire extinguisher that we can find almost everywhere in any kind of occupation. These two fire types, they come with two colors, the red with blue stripe and the red with black stripe. So the red with blue stripe, it's a common type fire extinguisher, which is usually comes as ABC fire extinguisher. It is effective against electrical appliances, but it's not as effective as the one that comes with red and the black stripe. That one is specialized for electrical fires. It's a CO2 type fire extinguisher, and it's the best to deal with electrical fires. That's why whenever we go to any kind of shop, any kind of occupation, we see these two fire extinguishers. It just emphasizes about the idea of the importance of fighting electrical fires.
Yeah, and it's quite scary, when people do come across these incidents. Sometimes their brain freezes and they don't know how to operate a fire extinguisher. So if you can tell us how is the best way to operate a fire extinguisher and pointing it towards a particular fire, what would you recommend?
Okay, so that's actually what we trained during firefighting. The fire extinguisher, first of all, you need to know the key characteristics of the fire extinguisher. So it is not light, it is heavy. So whenever you want to carry a fire extinguisher, just keep in mind that this will be heavy. So you have to handle with care. Okay, so once you pick it up, there will be some kind of small pin installed in the fire extinguisher to prevent it from being accidentally pressed and activated. So first of all, you remove this pin, and then if in case you were outdoors, you have to keep in mind the direction of the wind, because if it's against you, whatever you will do with the fire extinguisher, it will go the other way.
True.
So that's why you need to direct yourself so that it's with the airflow. But if it was indoor, then it should be fine. It's almost negligible, the wind direction. So you have to actually point it a little bit lower than the fire itself, and try to be as close as possible, but not very close to the fire. And then you activate the fire extinguisher, and hopefully things will calm down afterwards.
Okay. So it's always aim for the base of the fire as opposed to wherever you see the flames. I think it's all about getting your concentration there and understanding that when you are dealing with an extinguisher, it is going to be heavy, so it's not just a quick fix. Well, Lieutenant Engineer Hamad Al Hammadi, thank you very much for joining us in this discussion, and I think and we hope that it has enlightened and helped the understanding of our listeners. And once again, thank you for being with us here in the studios.
You are very welcome.
We look forward to welcoming you at some point in the near future as we continue these conversations with the Sharjah Civil Defence. And once again, if you'd like to catch this discussion as a podcast, you can do so on our podcast platforms of the Morning Majlis. Just search for Morning Majlis on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as SoundCloud.